Hello students, this is e-commerce and data security class, slide 1. Let's begin the course. So e-commerce. Electronic commerce, commonly written as e-commerce, is the trading in products or services using computer networks such as the internet. That means products may be delivered or services may be delivered, and it must happen through global networks such as the internet. Electronic commerce draws on technologies such as mobile commerce, electronic funds transfer, supply chain management, internet banking, online transaction processing, EDI, which is electronic data interchange, inventory management systems, and automated data collection systems. So there may be various technologies that may be involved with electronic commerce. These are the examples of them. Then modern electronic commerce typically uses the WWW or World Wide Web for at least one part of the transaction's life cycle, although it may also use other technologies such as email. So it says that in modern times, we are always doing online transactions, online communication through the World Wide Web. So e-commerce is going to use it at least once in the transaction life cycle. Okay, so if a particular process, business process is involved, then at least for one phase of the process, World Wide Web will be used. And in addition to that, we may also use external technologies like the electronic mail. Okay, so email can also be a part of it. Sometimes we do a transaction and the confirmation is provided through emails, right? Or if new contract is signed, then it is availed through emails. So email also play a very vital role when we do e-commerce transactions. Okay, so these various topics or technologies like mobile commerce, then EFT, etc., will be studied extensively as we move on. And one of them is electronic data interchange, which is very important and needs to be understood well. Then comes the definition. E-commerce is the exchange of goods and services between usually independent organizations, or it may be a single person or person, supported by a comprehensive use of powerful ICT systems and a globally standardized network infrastructure, right? So it normally involves exchange of goods or services. So please be clear about it. It may be goods, it may be products, hardwares, but it also may be services, right? Like assistant services, right? Management services, etc. So it can also be services that falls in e-commerce. Then these organizations and persons will use ICT systems. Now, what do you mean by ICT? It is mentioned in this slide, information and communication technologies, right? There may be various ITC skills involved, and we will learn about it in future slides. Okay, so these ICT systems are involved, and globally standardized network infrastructure. So normally we talk about internet as a globally standardized network infrastructure, but it may happen that from investment they may install, or any party may, or any community may install their own network and may suffice to run e-commerce, right? But as a standard practice, we go for the internet, which is globally accepted. For this purpose, the business partners have to couple their business processes and their ICT systems, right? So any company is going to have certain business processes, and they may be availed with certain ICT systems. So we have to combine them in order to suffice the requirement of e-commerce. These systems have to work together temporarily and seamlessly, and have to share, exchange, and process data during the whole business process and across the boundaries of the cooperating organizations. So it basically says that these systems have to work together temporarily. So it may not be thoroughly used, right? Like the combination of business processes and ICT may not be thoroughly involved, but periodically it may be required, right? So there has to be three things that is done, that is share, exchange, and process data. So always remember, whenever we do this kind of transactions, or whenever this kind of scenario arises, we always generate a lot of data, right? So if we store the data well enough, then in future we can do various analysis, predictions, etc., right? But initially we have to share, exchange, or process the data in order to complete certain processes, right? And if we store them, it may help us for future analysis. Then comes data security and data privacy, which is very important, and it is also part of the course itself. So data security and data privacy, as well as the compliance with laws and other policies and procedures, have of course to be guaranteed. That basically means that when we are doing these activities of sharing, exchanging and processing data, that particular data has to be secured and there must be privacy. That means that data must be encrypted. It must not be able to be read by malicious users, external parties, right? And there must be privacy. That means there must be proper private channel in order to do that particular communication. Okay, so here comes the various concepts of computer networks and cryptography to be precise, okay, to be specific. Then comes various use cases of e-commerce. So e-commerce businesses may employ some or all of the following. So it may involve a few of these points. It may also involve all of the points. So let's try to see where e-commerce is basically applied, right? Where it is deployed. So number one is online shopping websites for retail sale direct to customers or consumers. We already know this, right? Online shopping websites. Whenever we talk about e-commerce, the first thing that strikes to our mind is this online shopping websites like Amazon, Flipkart, etc. It is a direct use case of e-commerce. Then providing or participating in online marketplaces where which process third-party business to consumer or consumer to consumer sales. So there may be certain marketplaces where third-party entities can come and then sell their products or buy products from others, right? So it's an open market for all. Whoever wishes to come and join can do so. Then comes third point, business to business buying and selling. So there may be some exchange of products or it may be selling certain products or purchasing certain products from a business organization to a business organization. Then number four is gathering and using demographic data through web contacts and social media. Well, this is very important because whenever a company has to sell certain products, it must specifically know the crowd, right? It must basically know which section of the population will be attracted to the product. Now that can be done by gathering the demographic data. It can be done through contacts or it may be done through the social media platform itself to gain that information. So data analysis is always a very important factor in order to grow a business smoothly, right? So the more data we have, the more we have insight on how to proceed in marketing. Business to business, so the next point is business to business electronic data interchange. Now whenever we talk about electronic data interchange, it is also known as EDI, we talk about exchange of data from one party to another through the electronic medium. So it may happen that there are two companies and they want to exchange data, they want to exchange certain information. So in order to do that, instead of using pen and paper, right, instead of using paper, exchange of papers, they go through the electronic medium. They exchange mails, right? They may use a common forum platform, etc. And they do all the communication through that particular channel. Then the next point is marketing to prospective and established customers by email or fax. Well, this is also observed, right? We always get emails from various companies or various organizations, maybe shopping websites, etc. They always try to keep the public aware of new products, right? They try to keep track of your interest, and accordingly, if a new product or service comes that matches your requirement, they communicate with you. So this is another point. The last point is engaging in Pretail for launching new products and services. Now, what do you mean by Pretail? So in order to understand this last line, let's go to the next slide. So e-commerce has a concept called Pretail. So Pretail, also referred to as what you call pre-commerce, is a subcategory of e-commerce and online retail for introducing new products, services and brands to market by pre-launching online, sometimes as reservation in limited quantity before release, realization or commercial availability. Retail includes pre-sale commerce, then pre-order retailers, incubation marketplaces and crowdfunding communities. We observe this. It's a normal observation that we see, isn't it? Whenever there is a new product to be launched, it may be a mobile phone, it may be a smartwatch, it may be a new television, right? they always try to, or the organization or the company always try to highlight it as a very specifically new product with new features, etc. It tries to attract the crowd even before they launch the particular product, right? We see there is flash sales going on, right? We see pre-orders that has to be done even before we basically know the product well enough, right? They try to highlight on certain features, and if we get attracted, then we do the pre-sale itself. So this is pre-tailing. Okay, it is trying to attract the crowd towards a particular product even before the launch, right? So this is also practiced in e-commerce. So students, we see that most of these concepts are very much connected to our daily lives, right? We encounter them in a certain way or the other. So so these are the so these concepts are, I believe, at least um, familiar to you in daily life. So you will be able to relate to various topics that is taught in this particular course. Okay, thank you.